Hey, 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 it is coffee
Coffee
time.
time.
Clink. Good morning, Missy Jenn.
Good morning, Rosie girl.
It is Sunday, January 21st, 2018, here on the Rancho. Once again, it is coffee time, and it's our chance to talk about what's going on in our world. Now, before we tear into deeper subjects, yeah, we did have to cancel the trip to Southern California, our first journey. As many of you have been aware for a long period of time now, months that post fire, everything's changed around here.
Yep,
The city is now
that's right.
facing potential bankruptcy. If you look at my blog page, www.rosieokelly.com, you can see a story back in October, November, talking about the financial ramifications of that fire, and now they're coming to pass because this was the most expensive wildfire in U.S. history. It was also the deadliest wildfire. So um, cleanup is huge. Cleaning up 6,000 home sites on various slopes. It's not like you just go into flat land. Some of these things are on steep hills where access is horrendous to get into these places, and the roads are narrow, and to try to get big equipment up there it's a nightmare. And now with the damp season,
Yeah,
you
oh
have
yeah.
landslides and things of that nature. So
Lots of mud.
at the bottom line was over 200 doctors lost their homes, which
Yeah,
for a city of 200,000 people, a big slug.
and the
Um,
biggest facility had burn damage, significant burn damage, and is closed down for pretty much a year.
you
And
with the result that with the many doctors moved on, they just take the insurance money, they take any little hit that they have for any shortage between insurance coverage and replacement value, and they just move on. They apply for other positions in other places, and they're gone. Same thing with a lot of nurses. Same thing with a lot of people that do nothing more than push paperwork around like I do. There's a lot less people to do doctoring. There's a lot less people to do nursing, and there's a lot less people to push paperwork around. That's a fact. You don't have a significant reduction in population. Everybody's just still sofa surfing for a year or two or five, or jammed in with relatives. But they're basically, their jobs are still here, and it's not something that they can. These people have been long established in their careers, and it's not something that they can leave.
right,
So this imbalance creates real difficulties. And it's one of the reasons that getting away is so problematic, because being so swamped, trying to, when we used to do things like be able to do heart transplants and heart lung stuff here at Memorial Hospital in Santa Rosa, those doctors have moved on now. And now everything has to be referred out to UCSF down in San Francisco, which is our huge regional teaching hospital, and it's state of the art in terms of the quality of what it does. And I'm happy to say, Jen, it's one of the top five medical systems in the United States. And I'm happy that one of the reasons Jen came out of here was to be able to partake of UCSF and its facilities. But referring people cross county under Medicaid programs is extremely problematic. And there's a lot of long tails and paperwork and things like that. The upside is patients are getting great care, but there's a lot of people stacked up everywhere, and there's a lot of people to be moved around to different areas of the Bay Area. So I guess, you could take off if you wanted to, Missy Jen, but there's a chain there, and if you take off with being as experienced as I am, then it creates untold difficulties. We laugh about movies where people used to have Rolodexes on their desk with all the cards. They'd go through it. Well, I gotta call in a favor. Let me call Frankie. I went to school.
yeah,
I went to school with him. Or hey, I played poker with Jim. He knows the guy, right? I have a Rolodex that's like that long of specialists and people and contacts within offices that have been there for years. So it's like if I'm not there, there's nobody to really operate the Rolodex to call in favors and to kind of do a little arm twisting and things like that. Because just because somebody is a surgeon or a specialist doesn't mean that they have to see you, right? So
Right.
sometimes you have to put an extensive case together, present that to that specialist, and then he just reviews it. He or she reviews that, and then either takes the case or rejects it. Well, with the crush of people in the area now, the rejection rates are very high. So you have to make a lot of calls. You have to do a lot of call in a lot of favors for people in administrative positions within these places, and basically beg them. Do you think you could drop into Dr. X and just tell him, this they don't ask for much over there, but this is something that they would, this hospital to hospital. So it's it's difficult work, and you just can't walk away until things we're still like this. This ship is on a high seas, and even though the fires have been out for months, the shock waves roll on.
Yeah.
People call it burnt toast California is the new nickname here, and it's true. But there's a lot of angles to what's going on. So I guess that's a roundabout long way of telling you that I'm not able to really travel at this point in time,
Right.
Missy Jenn. And that's the sad reality. Now, my friends understand that. And that's a wonderful thing. Now, last night was, I think, a really nice hangout. It's wonderful on YouTube when people stand up for people. And I had pre-written a lot of people on that usually come on my panel. And I said, look, the tar brushes are out. You best not come on, or else you're going to be, an enemy of the state on YouTube. And I was really happy that a lot of friends came on last night, big panel, as usual. Missy Jenn, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I salute to all of the wonderful friends that did come by and came on the panel, that came into the side chat, and were there for the Rosie girl.
Yeah, and it didn't matter which side of the camper van Elvis thing that you were on. Everybody comes in. Everybody has free reign to chat.
Right.
And for that reason, I'm very proud of that. There was only one person that was taken out of the hangout last night because I specifically asked this person, do not share public information. You're welcome to come in here and chat. For the most part, this guy did. But then starting to drop personal information and stuff, we just can't have that on YouTube. They do that on other sites. But I just, it's best if we don't do that here. So he had to be removed. You should not use people's YouTube channels as a platform to carry out vendettas. And that's on both sides of the issue there, not just one side. My friend CJ Blondbear, he wants to come at us with, angry and shaking a fist. But you got to understand that the person Cameo, even though I did nothing to write anything offensive to Cameo. I happened to be AWOL from my seat when this person took advantage of that situation to type some things. I didn't see it. It was gone by the time I got back. That person was warned the next time they came in not to do that. Cameo was apologized to that night. The next morning in an apology video, it went up in the morning, and also in an internal chat later. You can try 3 times, and then that's it. Other than that, there hadn't been any other things that, but the issue gets resolved. But as I told Lindy Zoloff this morning when she was commenting on the video, you can't expect people to catch a train of events that's moving at 100 miles an hour, this personal war between two people that plays out on YouTube, this Bird's Nest Oz and this Cameo. You can't expect a train that's rolling by that you're supposed to suddenly at 100 miles an hour jump on that train and understand every aspect of what is happened in that situation. Is it fair because somebody says, take this person out because they're doing this? I don't know the full story. You know, bits and pieces come in, you know, but it's a little much when somebody gets blindsided by the train to tell them you should have slammed the brakes on the 100-mile-an-hour train. Well, maybe not. But you've got to give people a chance to grasp the totality of the story, because on that story, I hear things from both sides. Both sides. I don't repost it, but I get people writing tons of stuff into me and telling me this other guy has a perfect right to be on fire about this. So what do? I tell people, if you're going to come into my chat room, please leave this issue outside. I'm not going to be the arbiter. I'm not going to get in here as a judge and a jury and have a private hangout and bring these two individuals together. I don't know the history of it. So what I do is I tell people, please do not bring this stuff into the chat room. Well, somebody chose to bring it in last night, despite they were repeatedly asked, and they were shown the gate on that last night. Okay, we can't have personal. Leave that for the other chat sites. They're all about, you know, doxing and disclosing personal information and doing whatever they can do to character assassinate people. We don't do that here. We deal in the realities of people and trying to be nice. Now, Missy Jenn, there was this whole idea of, you know, in the camper van Elvis situation that, you know, somehow you were used as a prop to sit next to me here, and that things are chosen to elicit, what would you say, sympathy for the situation. When in reality, Jen, you know, you've been here for years at my side and on morning chooches for the last year. Every morning for 13 months, 14 months, you've been here at my side.
That's correct.
People read into things what they want to read into things. It depends what their frame of mind is. Somebody that likes Rosie and Jen says, oh, it's wonderful to see two people that sit there and support each other. Somebody that's against the camper van Elvis situation says, oh, I see somebody sitting next to Rose that is just being used as a prop. You know, two viewpoints, two very different agendas about what they see. But, you know, I'm not cutting Missy Jenn out. It's just because you don't see Missy Jenn making videos on Jen and Rosie reality TV, because I specifically asked her, do not tar yourself with this situation. You have a great reputation on YouTube. Keep doing the things that you enjoy doing, the boots, the leggings, and do the videos that people enjoy on YouTube. Do the tractor reviews. Do the stuff that you love doing. Don't go on there and open up another, you know, the 88 millimeter guns and just start opening fire on people. You know, and that's what I requested of Missy Jenn, and she did that. She didn't want to be involved in this situation. She, like I, enjoys the time that we hang out with Marshall. And, you know, it breaks her heart.
So, yeah.
It breaks her heart to see the way that Marshall behaves on YouTube.
Yeah, I sure do condone his behavior, but I do not approve of the vigilante justice that people take upon themselves. If somebody, and this is my beliefs, if anybody watches somebody on YouTube and doesn't approve of what they do, they can flag things, they can go the proper channels, or just click out, block the channel, unsubscribe, and watch something else. And not go about racketeering, which was happening in the case of Elvis. And that's why I am, this is my opinion, so I am having the same opinion. I agree with what Rosie agrees. I mean, with what Rosie stands for. I have the same opinion, and therefore I support Rosie. And Rosie's also my partner, and a partner supports their partner.
And you know, Missy Jenn, you're also self-sufficient too. You don't depend. You don't lean on me for anything in your
Right.
life.
I am self-sufficient, and
See, Jen was smart enough. She never saw multiple sclerosis coming down the line, much less primary progressive multiple sclerosis that's incurable.
right.
But she did something very smart. She worked like a dog to get her surgeries, and she also participated in a disability pool, whereby you never know what might happen. But she signed up for all the benefits, and luckily, in the midst of the tragedy of MS, well, you've got a little bit of extra kernel of gold because you have your own personal disability policy,
Right.
bought and paid for by you.
Right. I paid into an additional policy for years that now gives me a little extra additional income on top of my disability, so that I have a decent income that I buy the groceries for here. I pay my own car. I paid my own car off, made my payments, and I pay my car insurance. I buy my own gas for the car, buy
Do
my own
Friday night
clothes.
foodies, you chip in and
I
do
chip
that with
in
them?
on Friday foodies occasionally.
Because she has basically what she's saying is,
And
I have pride. You know, you have pride
I buy my own clothes. I have pride, and I like to be able to say, I can go out and buy my own stuff. I can buy a computer if I want to. I save up for it. I bought my laptop. I saved up for it for 7-8 months, and then I bought a new laptop 2
and
years
she
ago.
doesn't throw a hissy fit if I end up throwing money at people. That sometimes it works,
Right.
sometimes it doesn't. I mean, there's many a month that I talked to Jen and said, well, we're going to be a little light this month. It's what we call the ramen month here, because of trying to do things once in a while to be
And then I don't mind throwing in $100 and saying, hey, we will just go out and buy more groceries on my dime. And
Now another thing too is the positive aspects of
so I was already, when I was younger, smart enough to prepare and look ahead just for in case that something might happen. You know, there will be something, a support net, so that I can still be financially secure.
Yeah, so it's all working out really
And that
well.
worked out great.
Now you get a lot of jazz too, because people say, oh, you know, is she on drugs? They'll look at videos, and because your mouth and brain coordination is not what it is because of inflammation in the brain and the spinal column, which is associated with MS, your speaking patterns and things are affected.
Right.
You know, but make no mistake about it, Jen is smart as can be, and the thing about Jen is that Jen sees beyond the issue of not liking Camper Van Elvis for his abhorrent behavior on YouTube. She sees the bigger issue, and I think it's funny that people call us libtards, like ACLU libtards, because we dare to stand up against the vigilante justice and say, hey, YouTube has its set of rules. Now you want to bleed it over into real life and you want to just destroy somebody on YouTube. And Jen and I kind of put our hands up and say, whoa, all these rotten, rib-rocked Republicans that will be the first ones to scream about gun rights and freedom of speech and Trump and all the things about make America great again. Making America great again has to do with getting back to America's core values of freedom and not having these vigilante groups that run around and run amok and high five each other and give each other reach around and tell each other how great they are.
Absolutely. I know I can speak for myself. I'm the furthest thing from a libtard. I am a hardcore, I would say, conservative. I am like pro First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment, everything. The pro-Constitution, Bill of Rights, and pro-USA and pro-Make America Great Again.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so like a lot of things that Trump has promised and everything. But that's just a tiny little thing that is a piece of the puzzle here.
Yeah, I mean we're both ultra. We're pretty darn conservative people.
So now to the point of me being a very quiet and sometimes seems like I'm drugged up and everything. I am dealing with primary progressive MS, which is a steadily declining year after year after year, losing more and more and more of my life, of my identity, of my body, of my mind. And I'm every year thinking more and more about death, coming closer towards death. And I have been in the last year actually preparing more and more for what happens when death comes. Preparing, having my stuff in order, having my paperwork in order, getting rid of a lot of stuff, facing the reality that death is coming closer every day. Things that a lot of people don't even think about. People think about life. People think about planning for life. I'm planning for death because I'm facing the reality that it's inevitable, and I'm living a different life than most people do.
Yeah. I'll tell you, you're on planet X and they're on planet Y, and it's all about agendas for people, and it's all about looking beyond the person that happens to be the in the center of the ring circus, Camper Van Elvis, to once again look at the bigger issues of whether you enjoy being bullied on a site like YouTube by people that are faceless and don't have the courage to come out and be their true selves. So they hide behind avatars and they live in the dark. And they want to shut people down and they want people to live in fear. Well, we don't live in fear about it. We never have, we never will. And, the stuff that's come down recently, the events that are going on there, there's a reason Jen stands with me, not just because she's a partner in this enterprise here, but she also is a firm believer in the values that have gotten trampled on in this. The ability to be on a platform and let the rules of the platform take you out.
Correct.
Instead of then bleeding over to real life, and even this weekend, calling a poor, uh, you know, a poor tort attorney in Florida and flooding the message machine and
The
the
emails, the
Gmail.
fax machines, and everything with garbage.
Now, any attorney worth their salt is going to come in Monday morning and they're going to say, far from this guy being a nut, I don't like what this guy's all about. But they're going to come to the conclusion that there's really something here. There really is a vigilante group that is bent on getting
Right,
this
it's just
guy.
more evidence.
Yeah, it becomes a pileup of evidence
Right.
to show the gang mentality that's out there. And if I'm a lawyer, I look at that and I say, whoa, this is really
This
highly
is a
unusual.
really good case.
You know,
Let's get this thing going.
I don't know whether the case is good or not, but I pause a second before I throw this guy out of the office on his ear. And I think to myself, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in the practice of law. There's something going on here that's above and beyond the norm with links to videos and with messages left on answering machines. So what people do to somebody that's a deeper thinker in life, they do things that actually proves the opposite of their case. That there is something going on, and there's something for the people to stick their snoot into and take a look at and see. This is why I call it Ham-Fisted Productions Incorporated, because the people aren't very smart when it comes to doing this. I said once again, the smart thing would have been to do it, but don't talk about it. But we got the Reach Around gang, and they want to specialize in character assassination and staging hangouts and things for lynching to assault somebody's character and to show the type of person that they really are. But they don't get a hell of a lot of traction in the real world because you can't change somebody's basic nature. My basic nature on YouTube is pretty well known over the years. Bumbling, stumbling, but always trying to go in the direction of being helpful to people and not hurtful to people. Okay, the basic nature of people cannot change. Boris Zoloff, with his 3-day cure, came running out of that with his tail between his legs. And wow, never going to change. Yeah, people try to tell you, and you're the snowflake that melted on that one. So I want to tell you guys, yeah, do I think Elvis has a case? Of course, people said, oh, it's so small, but justice is not scalable in the United States. Somebody does not get denied justice because the monetary values of it are not large, because this encircles YouTube, this encircles AdSense, this encircles the whole structure of YouTube and the tools that are put at the use of people and end up being abused by a band of vigilantes. So last night, I was sitting there thinking and listening to all this stuff going on and enjoying my panel. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, it's going to be an interesting time coming up this week. I don't know what's going to happen to Camper Van Elvis. I really don't. Today's the 21st. His channel still seems to be up. So I don't know what the case will be. I don't know what the aspects will be. I sit like you guys and wait. But I just marvel that these people that hold themselves up as upstanding Americans hate diversity in people and gender. And they sure as heck hate working within the framework of the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights.
Trample on all the American values.
Far from being true Americans, they're high-plane vigilantes out there, meting out their own kind of justice. Let the system work, people. It always weeds people out in the end. Thanks so much for being with us on Coffee Time Sunday, and we'll see you soon.